Okay, so this is the steam boiler installation we did, and has some controls mounted on the board and some controls mounted on the boiler. So I'm gonna go over this part first. You have a thermostat with the remote sensor wireless. Now you know how to operate it. It's just arrow up or down, and then that's all you have to do. It's just you're setting the point you want to have in your room, and then it's going to control the boiler, turn it on and off. So this is simple. Only one thing you have to watch is this part. You see this little corner, like a light. Okay, when it turns red, it means you have a problem.
That's what was happening before.
Yeah, and then you have a message. You
Right.
scroll and you read. It tells you what's wrong.
Right.
Usually it's a battery in the remote sensor. You just change the batteries and then it's reconnecting, or it might be the power loss, like it was one
Right.
previously, because even though it has a batteries and it doesn't, if you disconnect the power, it might operate on the batteries, but if it connected to remote wireless sensor, it must have 24-volt power supply. Without this 24-volt power supply, it cannot communicate with the remote sensor, and then communication breakdown, you have a red light. Okay, so watch for this light. If you have any issue, just
If we were away and the battery failed, what would happen?
well, you would have no heat.
No.
So the pipes could freeze and stuff. So before we went away in winter, we would
If
need
you
to check.
Yeah, you need to check. Another thing what you can do is to get this thermostat connected to your Wi-Fi system, your internet, and you can monitor it through online. It can send you messages, alerts saying, oh, we have this problem,
Yeah, we
this
have
problem. And if somebody has keys and you see the problem, then your neighbors or whatever, you can call for the service and we can come and take care of that.
I can't imagine our doing that. So I've got a different question. Is
Yes.
there a way of bypassing the connection temporarily with the sensor upstairs and just having and not basing what the boiler does on that?
Well, what you can do is you can set it up on to act the thermostat itself as a thermostat without remote sensor, but then it's gonna measure the temperature in the room,
Right.
not in the house, and you will have to keep the door open just to cool it down, and you set it, let's say, to the 70 degrees. It's gonna keep 70 degrees in the basement, and maybe above freezing point in the in the house.
What I'm saying is that if we were to go away in the winter time,
Yes.
it for a week or more or something like that, then it might make sense as just as a precautionary thing to set it on here and set it high.
Is there a vacation mode?
What I would like to say, there is a lot of things can go wrong. We cannot predict what can go wrong.
No, I know.
Good batteries are good batteries. You put the two AAA batteries there before you leave. Actually, you have to change it once a year, but just
just change it.
Change it, because it could be batteries, it could be something else. You can be insured against everything, and the freezing point, it's really even though there might be temperature outside might go below 30, it definitely will. It doesn't mean that your pipe's gonna freeze.
No. It's just if it goes.
So the
down.
good thing would be, if you don't want to set up internet connection, just have somebody check once in a while. How is the temperature in here.
Right.
That's a general issue with everybody, because heating system is the system, it tends to malfunction, and as a Murphy's law.
Yeah.
It happens always at the time.
Yeah.
The worst possible time. So, okay. So this is about the thermostat. Now we have two controls right here. This control is set. This is the control which keeps the boiler hot all the time at 180 degree. The reason for that is that you don't want the boiler start from the cold. If the boiler starts from the cold state, it takes much more power to push it to the warm state, hot state, and also it creates a condensation. So the repeated start from the cold creates acidity on the cast iron, and in a while it might eat through. And this is the argument between, people who think it's dangerous, and I had the discussions with the boiler manufacturer. Oh, not a big deal. For them, it's not a big deal. They're selling boilers. I've seen boilers, steam boilers, fail because of acidic condensation, because they didn't have this piece. So we do install it. Okay. Now it's for the winter. For the summer, I recommend just to turn the switch down on the boiler, this red switch.
Okay.
Because you don't want to keep it.
No.
In the summer, you don't want to keep it hot. So let's say May 15 till October 15, you just shut it down.
Okay.
And that's the end of the story. This thing, it's called warm weather shutdown. And this is a device which on the top of the temperature in the room, it shuts the boiler if the temperature outside goes above 55.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to discuss those two right now, how they work together. The reason why it shuts the boiler down, because some people have air conditioning. And let's say we have 80 degree outside, and people want to have a 67 degree inside. They turn the air conditioner all the way blast. What it does to the boiler, who has a set point, let's say normally 70, 72, it turns on the heat.
Right.
So now you don't want the heat and the air conditioning to work simultaneously, because it's waste of gas and electricity.
Right.
So this thing automatically shuts down the heat when the temperature outside gets below above 55 degree. 55, 60 degrees.
It's up to you. You can set it.
Yeah, right now outside we have 66 degrees. It's like a thermometer. It reads the temperature outside. 66 degrees outside. You don't need heat.
No.
That's why you heat is off. Now, between May 15 and October 15, there might be some chilly evening where the temperature going to drop like 54, 53. We can see it. And because it's still summer, you don't really want to heat the house in May, even though you have 2 degrees below 55.
Right.
So that's why I recommend to do this one. If you're not going to shut the boiler down, you're going to have nuisance heat in the summer, one of the chilly nights. Okay?
But some people do prefer, they actually do.
They like the
Yeah, so they don't turn it off. They
Right,
just,
right.
they rely on it to turn on. So it's up to you, I guess, right?
Yeah, I would say so. But still, I would prefer to shut it down.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we have this piece. This is a carbon monoxide detector. And there is a law, it's called Martha's Law, I think. It's a state law. It's named after the girl who died of the carbon monoxide poisoning. And they investigated that the boiler was in the same spot in the basement where the girl was sleeping, and there was a blockage in the chimney, and she died.
Right.
So it wasn't. So there is a law. It says when the boiler is can be connected to the places where people occupy, let's say the playroom or whatever, they can fall asleep, the kids. You must put the carbon monoxide detector, not just a carbon monoxide detector, but carbon monoxide detector which, when it sees the carbon monoxide, it actually shuts down the boiler. It's interlocked with the boiler, and it physically interrupts the power to the boiler if it sees the carbon monoxide. It not only makes noise, but it actually turns off the gas-fired equipment. Now, me being over whatever, we install it on every single job.
Well, we had an experience where we did an installation. The house was sold, and the new person that came in opened up the chimney that we had closed, put in a gas-powered device, right? Vented into the chimney. Didn't notice that on top the chimney was closed, and then he called us for maintenance. Thank God that he called us. We came and we saw it, and ever since then we've been installing these everywhere.
Because what happens? They had the apartment in the basement, and this carbon monoxide went not only into this apartment but in every apartment above.
Wow.
And to the neighbors.
Wow.
Because it was blocked and it was venting into the apartments.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's impossible to detect for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, we did have a carbon monoxide detector.
Oh
there.
no,
it did go off.
No.
No, you don't smell it, or you don't.
The funny part. Listen to Sasha.
We installed a carbon monoxide detector, as we always do. It went off. They said it was so annoying. They took out the batteries and left it.
Oh my goodness.
And
that is criminal.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But what happens is that we did it many years ago. It wasn't interlocked with the boiler. It was just a lock. So now, if you attempt to take out the batteries, it's hardwired.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It has a power.
Yeah.
You cannot shut it down.
No.
I mean, you have to be very good at electricity to figure out what to do, not to get electrocuted. So this is like you need to bring a professional, and he has to modify our electrical wiring, how it interacts with the boiler. So you have to get people like us, because regular electrician, they're not gonna figure that out. So we start putting these things, and I said, good luck with the batteries.
It doesn't matter if it's an installation where the basement is unused or used. They're on all the installations. They turn off the boiler if necessary, and it's just standard. I mean, it's so dangerous.
Yes.
Carbon monoxide.
The point I'm trying to make, the codes and the laws establish the minimum requirements. We do not operate on minimum requirements. We always do the right thing. We don't go below, but we go above minimum requirements. Okay? So, talking about this one. This is the, ground fault interrupters.
But no, you shouldn't use them, right? For like power tools.
Those ones, I hate the thing when you come for the service and you have to plug in tools and there is no receptacles. Or you have to plug in the gas analyzer.
Yeah.
And there is nothing to plug,
Right.
So
that's it.
we install it for us to work,
Yeah.
to plug in our devices. If we have to come, we don't have to drag the extension cords. And they have it's a ground fault interrupters. If God forbid there is a short of the water, it protects people. It trips, and in case of any shorts.
Good.
Okay, and this is a code requirement. Boiler room, you must have GFI receptacles only. Okay.
Good.
Now let's go to the boiler.
Wait, before we get,
Yes.
if we're
Any questions?
moving from left. Well, I have a question about the thermostat, but I
Yes.
thought I would
Okay.
leave that till.
No, that's fine.
No.
Let's talk about.
Oh, okay. I mean, I know you're not going to like this, but
Yes.
because we've talked about it before. But I really want to know if there's a way to program, particularly if we have this control that keeps the water hot even when the heat isn't on, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's what.
Yes, this one.
That's what.
Upper
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would really like to be able to program the thermostat
Okay.
so that it's lower at night.
If you want to do that, that's a simple way to do it. Is you're gonna go into the menu, equipment or system, the menu, and then you go into the preferences.
Okay.
Okay. Scheduling options.
Ah.
Okay, it says non-programmable, and we're changing into the programmable.
I see.
But do you
Okay, so now scheduling options, default schedule. You can go schedule, restore default schedule. Yeah, saying no, but then you have select programmable, non-programmable. Okay. Now you have to schedule. Let me. I very rare doing it, but let me see. Menu, edit schedule. You go into the edit schedule. Okay.
Yeah.
Such as taping, and then it's asking you use scheduling assistance. So assistant, you can say yes. Select days with same schedule.
Oh, I see. Okay, good.
It's like programming VCR.
It's a very sophisticated.
No. You have what's your schedule usually? How you wanna do it?
Well, we had a programmable thermostat upstairs, and what we tended to do, what we did, it had morning, afternoon, and evening, and night.
Okay. What I can tell you, all this setbacks is gonna lead to the higher bills.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Even with the. Please, come on, give me.
What I recommend you to do if you really want to do something. What is the purpose of the schedule? Why you want to do that?
Oh, just because first of all, even without a radiator in our room, I tend to be very sensitive to when it gets too hot at night, and sometimes it's like too cold and drafty if you open the window, or, if it's really cold outside. So I mean, personally, if we set the house at generally at 67, I would turn it down to 65 or something like that.
So let's do this. I see. What we can do, we can turn it at night at 66 or whatever, 65 at night, and during the day 67. Will it work for you?
It works for me. I mean, we have not discussed this.
2-3 degrees difference is not a big deal.
Okay.
2-3 degrees. Let's say if you're gonna go from 67 to 65, that's not a problem.
Okay.
The problem starts where people wanna shut it down the heat or bring it to 45 and then overcooled house, you're losing all the savings.
Right.
But if you wanna change it a few degrees, that's fine.
Okay.
From 12 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock till 5 o'clock, you wanna.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would like.
So we're gonna have all days with the same schedule.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna, you see, I mark all of them.
Right.
We're going to the next. How many periods? We're gonna say 2 periods, day and night.
Okay.
Next. When does building open? So you're saying 5 o'clock, because it's a commercial thermostat. So let's say 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, you want the house to get
start getting.
Okay, 5.
Okay.
Next, when building close, we'll say 11 p.m.
The house who stay up later than we do, so maybe that's not the first time.
11?
I think
12?
we can change it.
You always can change. It's very easy. Okay, just I don't recommend to do it like during the day breakdowns. This is not a good thing. At 11, next, set temperature when building open, 67.
Yeah.
When building closes, 65.
Yeah.
65 is okay.
Yeah.
Next, schedule more days. No. Review schedule. Yes. So period 1, 67, 5 p.m. going to the 67, and then at 11 it goes to 65.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, done.
Thank you
all
so
set.
much. That's great.
You see, it wasn't so hard.
No.
It's always easy when someone else does it.
You remember I'm always around.
That's okay.
Okay, so now we covered this one. Let's go
to that. Yeah, I was
this
going to ask
one. Yeah,
about
let's
that.
go clockwise.
Yeah.
Looking from the top. This is automatic feeder. So if the water level goes down, this valve opens up, and it feeds the water from here into the boiler. Okay, right there into the return line.
Yeah.
Now,
Wait, it feeds through the return line?
yeah, but by the code you cannot locate the feeding point closer than 2 feet to the boiler. and it related to the situation where you're feeding cold water into the hot cold water into the hot boiler. If you feed it directly, you create in the cast iron the zone of the colder temperature, lower temperature, and the cast iron is sensitive to the thermal differences.
And is that why our old boiler cracked?
No, your old boiler cracked because it has acidic corrosion. This is, remember?
Yeah.
At the top, the acidic vapor. This was like a fog, condensation, like a fog.
Yeah.
It was like little like a layer of the water condensation with the sulfur acid, because the gas contains sulfur. So when gas burns out, sulfur travels. When it sees the water, it starts getting dissolved with the sulfur. It gets in the with the reaction with the oxygen, and it creates sulfur and sulfuric acid. What it does to the cast iron, it eats it for breakfast. And this is what happens with your boiler. And the reason for that, because people didn't do this.
But the old boiler also had a direct feed in the back there. There was
No, it's not why it cracked. It cracked.
No. I understand that. But I'm just saying that it did. I mean that was where they had the water feed in the
Directly into the boiler.
Directly into the boiler.
Well, welcome to my world. I don't even look at the old installations because I don't want to get negative emotions. I become too negative. I start thinking about people who did it, and I try.
Blood boils.
No, I just it makes me feel bad.
Oh, okay.
Now, so you have to, let's say, if for some reason this thing fails, and you have a water going down, and you have to put the water in. By the way, what I'm gonna tell you right away is that never put the water in the boiler if you don't see a minimum water level there. Never ever try to feed the boiler, hot boiler. If you come and you don't see the water at all over there, and the boiler is hot, shut it down, wait for 2 hours.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then you feed the water, because if the boiler is hot and it dry fire, you put the water,
it goes.
This boiler becomes a rocket. It goes through all the 4 floors through the roof.
Really? Wow. Have you seen that happen?
I've seen it physically happen, but not because of the dry fire. I was working on the power plant, and then the relief valve, it's my alarm. Sorry. And the relief valve for the boiler was with the 5 elevators in the power plant to get to it was a 10 stories high. And the relief valve was, I don't know, it was like 3 sizes of this water heater. And the pipe was like this, going through the roof. So to prevent the water collecting into the pipes, there was a drain. Okay, so because those valves were leaking and the condensation, had to be drained. So, and it was dripping. So one of the people who were working on they said, why it's dripping? We have to cap it, and they cap it. So what happens next is that the valve was leaking, condensate was filling up all the way to the roof. So when it popped open and the overheated high pressure steam, it's like 3000 psi. What happens is that this relief valve with all this pipe and half of the roof flew like over a mile away. And when we came in the morning to work, we said, no roof.
That is amazing.
The steam locomotives, which move the trains,
Yeah, right.
they were working on steam. Steam has a tremendous power, and all the electricity, we have most of the electricity, comes from the steam turbines.
Mm-hmm.
The power of steam is enormous.
Yeah.
And there is no way to contain it, it's just a way to direct it.
Right.
So usually it directs through the roof.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just a word of caution. You come, the boiler is hot, no water, let me put the water.
No.
Where's my boiler? where I am. Okay, let's not talk about this extreme situation.
Okay.
Just remember, don't do it.
Okay.
Okay, so but let's say you came and you shut the boiler over here or the door, the switch, and you come later, you can either press the button and feed it manually, or you can open the installed additional bypass. So this is the bypass, and this is shut off. If you close this valve, you're not gonna have a boiler fed, no feeding. So this one should be open, and this one should be closed. Okay.
And the manual feed on the control there, is that mechanical or is it electric?
I think it's a mechanical probably, or maybe it's electrical. I can't really tell you, but if this control I think it's electrical. So if this control fails electrically, you push it and nothing happens. So you have just bypass right here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, talking about this boiler, there's a few things. This is the steam pressure gauge. Okay, I recommend to keep it. It shows the pressure of the steam.
Sorry, one thing.
Yes.
What's the down pipe there? What's that?
Oh, okay. This is the backflow preventer. What it does, it prevents a dirty water from the boiler going into the potable water supply. It's a protection of the drinking water. You have a water in your water system which you can drink, and there might be extreme situations where the boiler is working and for some reason gives you a high pressure, and the plumber is working and he drains the system. So what happens? This dirty water from the boiler can back up into the drinking
pipes.
water.
Yeah,
It's in this situation, your situation, it's unimaginable because the height is too high. But in certain situations where the boiler is on the ground level and there's a basement, so it might push the boiler water contaminated into the pipes, and then you drink it, and it's a hospital for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a code requirement. We install it no matter what. It prevents a backflow of the water. If it goes back, for some reason, it just goes outside.
Just drains out. Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Just trying to be thorough.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's not serviceable. It's just if you see the water dripping there, you call us. We come, we put a new one, or you call somebody else. It just needs to be replaced. It doesn't pay to repair. It's not really expensive part, and I don't think even they make a repair kits for that.
Okay.
But I prefer not to rebuild those things, but to replace it.
Okay.
It's too important.
Okay.
Okay. Health is health, and dollars step aside when there is a little chance to get poisoned.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is this control trim of the boiler, and I prefer this valve to be closed. And if you want to see the pressure, steam of the you open. Other than that, you close it. Why? Because you don't want it to get broken.
Okay.
And if nobody is here, as usually nobody is here, who's going to watch it?
All right.
Keep it close.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is a control which is designed to stop the boiler if there is excessive pressure in the system. And it has a red button right here. It's a reset button. So this is the second line of defense. It's a safety feature. This is the same type of controls. It also measures the steam pressure, but it's operating switch. What it does, it turns the boiler on and off based on the pressure. But let's assume that this pigtail gets clogged or it malfunctions and doesn't stop the boiler. The boiler is not stopping and the pressure keeps rising. Then it goes to the 5 psi pressure and it stops right here. It trips, and let's say this one clogs too. It's broken. What's the next step? Next step, we have a relief valve right here. It's a mechanical device. It opens up and relieves the steam. Very rare, almost impossible to see the situation where it acts. Usually this one stops, people come and press the button, boiler starts and they think it's fixed. No, it means that you have to call us as soon as possible.
Yeah.
It means that this device is not working.
Right.
Okay, so this safety feature, every time you press the button, you call us or the company who is gonna serve it, you know, whoever you pick, and this is the signal this boiler needs servicing.
Okay.
Okay. So remember, red button, a phone call. But you don't have to freeze, you can press it. You might press it repeatedly because it's, if this control is broken and the pressure hits the set point of this control, it's not going to restart.
Right.
Okay. But if it's cold weather and we cannot come right away, you can keep pressing till we come. No harm done. Okay.
And what is the danger point with the if you open the valve on the pressure gauge? What?
Nothing. It just protects the gauge itself.
Right, but what is the point of the gauge? Would we ever want to see what the pressure was?
Well, actually, this is a very good question. No, you're not going to see the pressure.
Oh.
And the reason for that is very simple. Code requires to install the 30 psi pressure gauge because a lot of systems work on the much higher pressure than we set the system for. The arrangement we did in your system is TRVs and master vents, and it requires certain pressure, and we cannot exceed it. Otherwise, you won't be able to control your heating system.
Mm-hmm.
So this boiler works under vapor, not under pressure. Any pressure below 1 psi is a vapor steam system. The steam system from 1 psi to 15 psi, it's a low pressure steam system, and from 15 and over, it's a medium and high pressure systems. High pressure system on power plants.
Mm-hmm.
This was the 3000
Yeah.
psi. So you're working on the vapor. Your system is converted right now to the vapor system.
I see.
So
you're never going to see.
You're never going to see 1
register.
psi,
Yeah.
and this needle probably not going to be moving. But when we set up the system, we had our gauge installed, and your system is actually right now set at 8 ounces.
Ah.
Very low. So this pressure, this gauge, not going to register it. So this gauge is probably more a decorative piece right now.
Okay.
Still, you know, if you're going to put the vapor gauge, then if somebody going to come here to service, if they're going to try to adjust to the higher pressure, they're just going to break it. Simple. It's going to just go bust right away. It can't work under high pressure, and higher than 1 psi. Now, we have two devices over here. We have low water cutoff, and we have another low water cutoff right here. What's the difference between those two? This is again the New York City fuel gas code, boiler code.
Mm-hmm.
Requires any boiler to have two low water cutoffs. One of them must be a mechanical type with the float, and also one of them must be automatic reset, mm-hmm. and another one has to be a manual reset, meaning that same it duplicates pressure controls. One of them sees the water level go down, it stops the boiler, and if you feed the boiler manually, automatically, it will restart if the water level will go above the set point level, water level. This one is the automatic reset,
Right.
low water cutoff, and it's electronic low water cutoff, probe type. It has an electrical probe and measures the resistance of the water. If there is no water touching the probe, then air is dielectric, and there is no current, and it registers there is no water in the boiler. Now, this one is the manual reset low water cutoff, and it's a float type. It has a float inside, and it has a button you have to press to reset it if it goes into the if it trips. So to reset it, this button right in front,
Mm-hmm.
you press it once and the boiler should start if the water level went up. So let's say the situation is that there is a water leaving the boiler somehow, and the water level goes down, and this control is broken, low water cutoff, and it's not stopping the boiler. What happens next? The water level keeps going down until it hits this level, and this float stops the boiler. So what you do, you refill the boiler, and to start it you just have to press it once.
Right.
That's it. Now this port over here, what we left, it's a skimming port. It's skimming is removing of the impurities of the boiler water from the top. It's like when you cook the soup, light stuff goes on the top, heavy stuff go on the bottom. So, but you have to remove, let's say if you don't want to have fat on the top, you take a spoon and you take it off. So this is our spoon to take off the impurities from the top of the water level.
So the monthly bleeding is done through the skimmer or through the low water cutoff?
Well, both.
Both. Oh, okay.
Both. We'll talk about it right now. Okay. So this is the skim point, and this is the blow down point where you take the water from the bottom of the boiler. Also, you have to remove the deposits from under the float, because what we see when people call us to do, let's say, annual boiler inspection. Annual boiler inspection, they have to open a low water cutoffs, and if there's an insurance company or whatever who just come and say pass, they don't care. What we do, we take apart, we open it up, we pull out the float, we remove the valve, and we physically inspect that the float is clean, the mechanism is working, and there is no deposits preventing the float going down. And guess what? We always find the dirt over there.
Oh, and I know, it's filthy
Always.
in there.
Because for years, decades, nobody touching those low water cutoffs. And then the boiler goes dry fire. What happens? We get work. Boiler manufacturers, they have sales. Who suffers? Consumer. Why he suffers? Because nobody told them. They don't know. They have to do it. They say, oh, insurance company does it to us for free. No charge. The free is only cheese in the mousetrap. Okay, when we come for the maintenance, just to discuss it, we open up, you see those plugs over here, plugs over here, plugs over there. We actually take it apart and we inspect, and we take it apart and we physically check that everything is clean there. And so this is the part of work which insurance company never does. This insurance inspector doesn't do that. I don't know if you have to do annual inspection, it's not for you, but still once a year it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, you still want an annual boiler maintenance. Pre-season, we usually send out an email to everyone saying if you
schedule us.
Yeah, if you want to do your pre-season maintenance.
Now, those valves should be open and then halfway back. Open and then halfway back. Why? Because when they got stuck over here, nobody touches, and you try to turn them, you don't know which way to turn. It's closed, it's open. If you leave it in one of the position, you can break them. Especially, this is the newer type. The older type had the bakelite handles, and they were designed to break if you push. You push, boom, the handle goes off, and you have to buy a new handle. They don't sell a new handle, they sell whole valve. Good luck. So that's why you do. So this way, no matter where you turn, you're not gonna break it. Now, this opening over here, the cap, this is the chemical feeder. During our maintenance, we always add the chemicals into the boiler to neutralize acidity, because it's funny thing that the water, when it works, the boiler working, water becomes acidic and it eats through the system. What happens next? Obviously it's not helping to the life expectancy of your equipment, and when you see the brownish water, you know, like that, it's this rust. Okay, so when we come to maintain the boilers, we didn't install. There is no way to put the chemicals in. So on our installations, we always put the chemical port. It's to feed the chemicals into the boiler. Easy. Okay.
But the water now is kind of rusty.
Well, if we're gonna flush it, it's gonna change the color. It's usually deposits over here. Okay. right here, right over here, you have a little control. It's a little bit dark. Let me put a little bit more light here. This control, it is a blocked, it's a spill switch, and it's a blocked chimney switch. In case there is something happens to the chimney and there is no draft, the hot air, the gas is coming out over here, and they're heating up this device, and it trips. So if you come and there is a little red button over here, right in the middle. If you press the button and the boiler starts, call us.
There's a chimney problem.
Yeah, you have to deal with the chimney. Okay, now when we did the job and we installed valves 1, 2, 3, and here's another one, 4 valves. During our maintenance, I don't say you have to do it, but once a year, we have to clean the system, and we have to clean the boiler, and we have to do it separately. We cannot do it together. So first, we insulate the boiler, we creating a pressure, and we blow all the impurities in the boiler from the top, bottom, low water cutoffs under the steam pressure. In this situation, we jump those controls and we bring the pressure up to 10 psi. And then with the steam pressure, it just blows everything out like a giant vacuum cleaner. You know, if you don't have those valves, you cannot do it. Also, those valves, and you see the, let's say, this valve over here, and this is the drain valve. So when we do you have dirt accumulating in the lines. So when we do our maintenance, we close this valve, and we're creating the pressure like 5 psi. 5-6 psi, and then we open up this one, and what it does, it blows.
I see.
Blows the dirt from a return line. Same, you have 2 return lines, you know, from the front and rear. Without those valves, to install these valves, we cannot do it, because when you create a pressure and you open the valve, you don't know where it goes, from the boiler or from the system. Who knows?
Right.
You know, so this is how you do a valve arrangement to make real maintenance happen and remove all the garbage from the system and from the boiler. You know where you remove it from. Other than that, how do you know? It's impossible. Okay, so this is you have there's a lot of controls inside, but you don't really have to go there. Anything you wanna?
But on the whole, we don't have to worry about anything about the return lines. I mean, it's not our.
No, you don't have to do it. It's too complicated.
No, okay.
If you're gonna start doing it, then it's specialty. It should be done at least, you know, once in 2 years, better every year.
It's part of the annual maintenance. So when you have it done, we do that. We do it on startup. That's what we were cleaning the system. Then we do it during maintenance.
Okay. So any questions?
Well, what about the monthly?
Monthly. What I recommend you to do on the monthly base is to do this. You see the color of the water? Is it brownish? I don't think so.
No. Oh no! At the top, but
so this is the real cover. You have
I see.
Good luck finding this clean water in any of your neighbors' things. You're gonna see the best this one. This is just a little.